I don't know. He's like,
We're all
this.
one. We're all one.
Yeah, and I decided to go live. For one thing, is we're going to answer quite a few viewer questions that you left on my post, on my community post. We're going to go through a few of those, and I'll take some from the live chat as well. But first, Dave, please give us a little synopsis, a brief little synopsis, who you are, how to get a hold of you, and what kind of readings you offer, and where they can go to get some of that.
Great. Well, moonride.com/au is my website where you can find me. Of course, you can see me on YouTube. I am very interested right now in teaching people how to channel. And I'm really loving the past life regressions that I'm doing, which I occasionally put up. You can see one with Sheila and all that stuff. You can still call me or message me about channeling, or even, the future. I'm tending more towards trance channeling. So I'm still available if you want to talk about the future, but the trance channeling work is, it's more like a guide comes in and just tells you the whole shebang, right? Which people don't necessarily know what channeling is, but it's really like a holistic sort of experience. So if that's what you're after, by all means, contact me. I'm loving teaching channeling. There's kind of an impetus right now, I think, for us all to up our game, if insofar as that is possible right now.
I totally agree. And I've also offered, and I've had a couple of sessions that have just gone fantastically. Some viewers who I'm teaching, or I'm just, it's like more like I'm guiding them through a remote view session.
Yeah.
And my last one, she really came up with, because she wanted to know what happened with the election, and she like did this whole thing. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't have her permission to say her name, but she went through this whole remote viewing thing, and she went through and she got into this office. She was looking at a filing cabinet. She went into the filing cabinet. She popped out. I mean, she came up with the answer that what possibly could have happened here in the election. This is just possible that all of those people, because they always say there's a whole bunch of people registered to vote but they're not voting, right? That all of those people who haven't voted and were registered to vote, for some reason they all automatically for some reason voted without, you know what I mean? So she really came up with something brilliant, and I love it, and I'm really having some real good success about that. If you wanted to book a remote view session with me as well, you can go on to my channel and book that. And then Johnson, you go underneath his videos, you find his address or his email address, and definitely get that done. And we need this work right now, David. We need it so badly with everybody.
Yes. Yeah. One thing about learning to do this work yourself is, you could do it every week. And the other thing about it, of course, is it's really just does seem like, as with the previous years, that we need it. Like,
Yeah.
we need to deepen our spiritual work. I'm not sure what other direction to go right now. I certainly, I am forcing myself to not watch as much YouTube as I used to. I'm no network news at all. I don't really believe anything that they're saying anymore. And it's just agitating me and making it worse. So I've spent a lot of that time just reading, praying, meditating. It's kind of like I'm not going outside myself as much. I am looking within and looking at spirit a lot, because that seems to be the only thing I can do right now to not go crazy, right? It's just such a stressful time. And Sheila and I were talking before about how, like, this is just it's unprecedented. No one knows what to do. And I'm talking about psychic community. No one knows what to do. You might notice a lot of us haven't been making many videos.
Because we haven't been able to get in. It's like the most bizarre, weirdest thing ever. I mean, I was saying that too. It's like, why are we not getting these answers? My last video, I was literally saying, what am I doing wrong? What am I not seeing?
And I want to let everybody know, because I know you guys are all intuitives. It's everywhere. It's everyone. Sometimes I will even again be told that the inauguration will not happen a la Trump, and we cannot tell you why. And I'm sitting there going, well, I've been predicting that for months. What's going on? It still seems to be trucking along. What do
I
we do?
know. I know. I am also doing the exact same thing, Dave, is that I look to see him at the thing and being inaugurated, and it's clouded, like almost like a blizzard is in front of it. Like it's clouded. It's You can't see it correctly. It is
Mm-hmm.
the weirdest thing ever. And I'm getting frustrated in not being able to get through the answers. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not used to that either. And it's like it has a feeling of radio silence. And
Yes.
go in there, I'm told, look, you're not supposed to know. So okay, now keep in mind we all want to know the future so we have some control. So
Yeah.
there's an element of us giving up control, which is quite the opposite of what we want in this very serious situation where our control and power seems to have been stolen from us.
Right.
So, I mean, on the practical level. So it's like mirroring what we're already experiencing. It is really rough. Again, let me give you all a lot of empathy, and I hope you can give empathy to us because we're all in the same boat here, which is virtually the only positive thing that I can see of is at least we're all in the same boat. We're all experiencing it at the same time. We can
Yeah.
commiserate.
Yeah. 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 Um, I mean, thank goodness when we look at other stuff, we can get the information. So this one's just a little bizarre, and it's almost like we've been placed. I remember back in the day when they used to tell us if we can't see if we vibrate too high, we won't be able to see. What if the solution to this is vibrating so high that we just can't see it? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that does make sense. I think you should say more about what you mean about this vibration and what do you
Right.
mean when you say vibrating so high?
So when you incarnate, you vibrate at a certain level, and there's a whole bunch of a book about that and the numbers. I don't have the numbers here, but you vibrate at a certain level, and you start enlightening self, and you start vibrating a little higher. You and I vibrate a little higher because we're connected to spirit, and we do this work and stuff like that. So the vibrations are pretty high up and through here, and a lot of people, our viewers, are also vibrating pretty high, or they would not have understand us. You see, it's like tuning into a radio station, the higher
Mhm.
vibration and the information that you have. And my thinking is that maybe, just maybe, the solution to this problem vibrates so high that there's no psychic right now able to vibrate that high to get the answer. Now, that's giving myself a pass, but that's the only explanation I can kind of think of right now.
And I think that's pretty close. I have when I have gone there, and again, the last few videos I've made have been just trance channeling. So it's almost like no questions. I'm just going to see who shows up,
Yeah.
and they kind of give me, hey, look, 1,000-year timeline, right? From the perspective of us, it makes perfect sense what's happening, right? You all need to experience this thing now. But from the perspective of, now, us living in reality now of our human lifespan, it just seems like it doesn't make sense that Trump would be president.
It
If
doesn't.
we're supposed to be evolving spiritually, why do we again have this, you know, insanity, this sort of ball of craziness?
Well,
And again,
yeah, I do know that I vibrate higher after I experience something and get the lesson out of it.
true, true. And I can say there is going to be a lesson here at some point that we will all grasp. I mean, maybe one thing that this is going to sound really rough. One thing that I'll tell you is my first past life regression, my first time, and I was the subject, right? I'd never done it before. I manifested the money for the regression that I had wanted. And this fellow took me back to a lifetime, which was incredibly boring. All I did, the only thing that was positive was me watching the grain move. I'd sort of chosen an easy life. thinking it would be easy, and it wasn't easy. It was miserable. Nothing happened. My child died in the war, World War II. I had an unfaithful spouse. It's just unpleasant, right? And then I opened the door to the therapist's office who was doing it in San Francisco. It was just exploding with noise and craziness. And I'm like, I've got to get my bike on the train into Oakland at night. It's going to be nuts. I burst into laughter. Here's one positive thing, and don't kill me for saying it. At least our lives are not boring. And it may be that we were placed here on this time to experience this kind of thing because we needed to learn it. Maybe we need to learn how to deal with, apparently the planet needs to learn how to deal with fascism and, how we react to fascism, because that is what we see. And I don't want to dismiss anybody's worries or say, you deserve this, it's your karma, because it's not like that.
No.
But I do believe we did volunteer for this time. That doesn't mean we deserve it. That means we chose to do this time. And in this time, we have to deal with, as you've said, something we never experienced before. We've had lousy governments, but not a president who's convicted of sexual assault and gets away with it. It's really incredible. And it's incredible. I think the more disturbing thing is that my fellow Americans will accept that my fellow Americans will deny it.
Well, but MAGA thinks it's 80 and 90%. That's the problem.
Yes.
Not as many as I hope it was.
Yeah. Even in 1890, a convicted felon didn't become president.
No.
There are some pretty bad. Nixon was pretty bad. But even then, the Congress had the honor to say, no, you cannot bug the offices of your Democratic colleagues. And I also have to say, I'm kind of disappointed in the Democrats. I think this goes to Al Gore. Al Gore should have said, no way. You don't get to, the Supreme Court doesn't choose the president. The people do. Of course, we're going to finish, counting the ballots. And because that didn't happen, because they didn't buck up, because they were all nice gentlemen, instead of being the warriors that we needed them to be, Biden did a lot of good things, but he was not a warrior. He was a people pleaser. I should say he still is.
Well, before we go into all of that,
yes, that's a big plot.
Because he did something. He's been doing a lot of great and wonderful stuff behind the scenes. He not have been the guy who is holding the pew pew. However, our warrior has been doing things silently.
That's true.
So let's give him a little bit more of that. Do we want them to be in absolute battle because that's how we feel? Of course. But Biden did. You know what Biden did today, right? Palestine and the ceasefire and releasing of the hostages. Of course. Going to take credit for it, and his little maggots are going to claim that it was all Trump because he was going to become president is the reason why it happened. But Biden has been negotiating since May. Everything that they agreed to was everything that was in his negotiation with them. So he takes 100% credit of his negotiation and everything being done today. So that was announced today, and it's amazing how fast we say thank you, Biden, and of course his little maggots on the internet or social media are like, oh, that's Trump. Trump did that.
Right. Well, it's incredible that Joe Rogan would complain about Kamala Harris when he's not going to ask Trump the questions, like 1.5 million people died, etc. So we do want to give Biden the credit that he is due. A brilliant economy increased at 4%. It's great. But there's still more, I'm going to say, assertive Democratic Party that we needed. Keep in mind the Republicans changed. The Democrat Party didn't change that much.
I know. I still feel that we could have bucked the challenger faster and easier and much more. I get that. However, have you been watching any of the confirmation hearings today?
No, I'm avoiding it. I can't stand it.
I don't blame you. Don't do it because I tried. I got viscerally just completely upset. I mean, my whole basement got cleaned because of it. But anyways, I was so mad. Um, I mean, clean. But anyways, I'm watching the Democrats just viscerate these people, and they are speaking out, and they're using plain language finally, and all of that. So it like takes them a long time, like a slow burn,
Yeah,
but they're getting there. I don't want to discourage anybody, from, because that's the Republican ploy, is to get us to hate the government just as much as they do, so that
right,
join
right.
them instead of stay where we're at. You know what I mean? So I don't want
Parallel
to do.
parallel to Biden doing all this great stuff, Biden also just assumed that the conservatives would not be that craven. He could not believe that the Supreme Court would stop an investigation or a trial
Yeah.
for Trump for taking the documents. We could not believe that Aileen Cannon would have the power to basically go total Republican. So I think the mistake that we keep making is, if we take the high ground, the Republicans will meet us. That was
Yes.
a mistake.
Yes. I mean, I'm on board with that. We did not believe, and we did not believe what they were saying at some point.
Yes.
Like, there's no way they would do that. They're just bluffing.
Right. Right.
I get that. Okay.
Mm.
So let's go ahead and start on a few questions. I will take a few questions here in a little bit from the chat.
Okay.
Dave, how much time do we have with you? It's already been
Uh, let's say an hour and 15.
an hour and
Maybe.
15. I'll try to stick to that. But you know how
Okay.
that goes.
Yeah.
All
Sure.
right. So here's the first one. This is how best do we find our which Claire you have? Do you know what that means?
Mm.
So we'll move on to the next one, because I was gonna Google that. I
Which
remember
is that,
which
like your skill?
which Claire, Clair, which Claire you have, and I have
Okay.
to Google that. I thought maybe you would know that, but I will address that in
Sure.
another.
Okay.
So, will the tariffs affect the world economy? Or let's go back just to the question, is he really going to enact the tariffs?
Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to even say, will the tariffs be enacted? There is still 1 week for something to happen. And maybe we've all been predicting incorrectly, but it's possible we've all been predicting correctly that he will not take office, right? That is still a possibility. So as we're doing this prediction, I'm just going to say, will the tariffs happen? Also, just tell y'all, just so you're all learning to channel that. Now that I'm talking politics, I'm a bit agitated. So I'm going to do my grounding thing in front of you, where I just, like a lightning bolt, I put all that energy of the things that are pissing me off into the ground, just to demonstrate for y'all good practices here. Make sure it's not my emotions. Just like a lightning bolt, just give it to Mother Earth, and she can just make it beautiful, right? Take Dave's agitation. Thank you very much. And now I'm just going to bring in some light from above. I always do this in pyramids too, to calm me down a bit. Okay. Now, Spirit, let's see. Will the tariffs happen? Okay. We'll do light channeling here instead of trance. Uh, will the tariffs happen? And I'll just describe what I'm seeing here, and we'll try to interpret it together. So I am seeing some train tracks, but what's interesting about the train tracks is they don't go very far. There's like a stop, and then it's all foggy, kind of like when we're trying to look at the inauguration. There's a stop, and again, it doesn't. It's almost like the train will only leave the station. So maybe they'll try it. So there's so many confusion. Um, Vance, what's Vance doing? Huh. It's like a political mess. And when I say that, it's just like, here we are in the Congress, and it's just a fighting mess. Papers thrown in the air. So tell me more, Spirit. Will the will the tariffs take place? I mean, if I were just to go for an answer, I would say no. I mean, that seems to be like the word forms no in front of me. See the train track image? It could mean more than one thing. But in regard to this, I even see somebody at the end saying, stop. We're not going any further. Any more about these? One thing I'm seeing is a lot of upset Americans. I think that it would be such a bad policy that even the Republicans won't do it if he is in office. You know, remember, Trump makes lots of threats about things, and they don't. So much of what happens from the conservatives is just a game. It's like, here, let's attack California for having fires, and it's just like pisses you off, pisses you off, pisses you off. It's an argument about something really stupid like reservoirs, right? From someone who knows nothing about firefighting, right? And it's just to distract us while they steal our money. It's just an argument up front. I
Yeah.
don't think the tariffs will go through though. I think it'll be so unpopular and they know it.
Okay. I kind of have a feeling like it just gave, forgive me, I'm just going to talk plainly. It just gave his stupid people something to talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just like arguing like a ridiculous argument that, you know,
I know.
China invented COVID.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
there's
like,
no way to prove it. Maybe it could be true, but there's no evidence it's true. And that's
yeah.
just a distraction.
Yeah, I think that kind of when he said it, and I felt it because he was saying it so out of context, and then his people never got it. Never. They literally think that the tariffs are going to eliminate taxes.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
okay,
Again, that's 1890.
that's
Maybe we're
yeah,
then.
exactly. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to talk over you, and I just can't get excited about this. I'm going back to that question. I got clarification as clairaudience. So, what's the best way to find out which clairaudience you are? Like, which,
Okay.
yeah,
And color audience mean like, are you good at this? Are you good at that? Are you good at
yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, first one thing I'll say is I've seen people change. So when I teach people to channel, then I will get sometimes them starting out as being totally visual, and then at the end of the session they'll start being audio and they'll start getting the signs direct. So it can change. I had one client and everything was colors for her.
Mm.
And so I would just suggest, and again, I'd love it if you take a class with Sheila or I, but if that's not available to you, there are lots of other ways that you can learn to do that. Read books is a great way to learn how to do these things. You can do it on your own if you cannot afford it. So by all means, learn, just start trying and see how it shows up, and don't be prejudiced. So there's a great book by Robert Johnson called Inner Work. And that is like kind of a prototype. It's still psychology, but it's moving into this stuff. But let's see what else Spirit shows me. Which one? How do people know which one? This sounds really cool. You put yourself in a state where you're ready to do this. And it's like door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. All right. And you'll just see that in your mind. You can watch some videos of mine or others and learn, first of all, how to put yourself in that state, just as I demonstrated here. First, you got to put all that nervy, angry energy into the ground, and then bring in the light. I always use a pyramid. I use ancestors that have passed away to bring in the love to the pyramid, because they know the other side better than me. Just find somebody that you love and bring their presence in to protect you, because you can't do this work if you're nervous and upset. You have to find a way.
Very, very, very hard to
Yes.
distinguish your emotions and the messages that are coming in through spirit, which the messages that come in through spirit, and Dave and I can probably attest to this, it is literally a soft, gentle, loving voice. And if you are
Yes.
nervous and anxiety, or drunk or stoned or, whatever all that is. It's very hard to hear that still small voice. But
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Okay.
You should feel good about it when you're doing it. And
Yeah.
that is, it should feel like love. Right. And if it feels like love, just give it a try. Again, there are many different ways. And in the beginning, you might be like, oh, come on, how much of this is me? Just making it up. I'd love for me to think that future and I'm just making it up. Just give it a try, write it down, and ask simple questions of the universe like, yeah, am I going, is it going to be sunny tomorrow? And,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and then just check your accuracy. And after a while, you'll be like, oh, yeah, when I have had 1 cup of coffee, I'm better than 2. And you'll just check your accuracy like that. It is asking you to trust yourselves. And I think that we can all be intuitive. I know in the beginning it won't be perfect. You and I have been doing this for a while, and we're still not perfect. So that's okay. This is a new world for you.
Yeah.
And as we go into the new world, the baby steps are new world steps.
Yeah. The moment I become perfect is me. The moment I become unteachable.
Yes, that's a
So
great point.
I
Yeah.
am not going to do that. So anyways, um, the chat is, I don't know if you can see the chat. Can you see the chat?
Yeah, I know. Let me see. Let me put it on.
They're getting funny in there. Sometimes I love watching the chat sometimes, and they have some really good funny things
They
that are.
do. They
So
do.
Rose,
Absolutely.
yeah, Rose gave us a little donation, which is, we appreciate, and she says my favorite Claire's is eclairs.
I'm with you there. Oh
Yeah,
God, will the heads be
experience
confirmed? Yes.
I've experienced every single clairvoyant, audio, visual, all of
You.
them. But it's one of them comes to me stronger than the other, and it's anyways. All right, so let's go to where is the link to sign up for your channeling course? Oh, okay, never mind, not that one. Let's see. How do I do? Is it almost time for a dirt nap? This is too funny. She's talking about the Sir Shitz's pants. Is it almost time for a dirt nap? But sorry, I have to laugh sometimes.
The
It's
gallows humor, it really comes in handy right now. We can all laugh about how terrible it is. What else are you going to do sometimes?
exactly what we were thinking about. He was talking about changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and the memes just went crazy. And the meme I put out there was it's going to be called the Gulf of Sir Shitz's pants.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry
Oh
for
my
cussing
God.
anymore, but I'm over it.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, here we go. I'm trying to get to these people are really funny. Will JD Vance become president? Or what is JD? Just give us a synopsis or a visual of on JD Vance because
Okay. Yeah. No, keep in mind, you guys, Spirit has been real cryptic about this because that's kind of a sneaky way of asking if Trump's going to be president or not. And we're not supposed to know that. So let's see how tricky I can get,
yeah,
how jiggy I can get with the universe by asking the JD Vance question. And I'll just tell you what I see because sometimes I get the vision that's correct, but my interpretation is wrong. I'm
right.
asking the wrong question. So, Spirit, will JD Vance become president? So this is strange, but I'll say there's a space, an empty space, and then there's JD Vance shaking his head no. I don't know what the empty space is, but tell me more about JD Vance. See, he's whittling a piece of wood. So he's like kind of whittling, and that kind of stuff that you do when you're bored. If you live in the countryside, I guess. He's whittling away and he's making like a little stick figure. Why is JD Vance making a stick figure? It's like a stick figure president. Huh. It's a little stick figure president, but he shows it and it's almost like here's my little voodoo doll president. Instead of being the president, there's this voodoo doll being president. Okay, is there? I see a very upset Congress. And they're like, no way is this guy going to be there. Like, or, maybe it's even because he gets in and he's just so terrible that they get rid of him right away. Or I just get disarray, confusion, disarray. There are some people saying, the United States will cease to exist, that it will not be the same country, that potentially could divide in two. There are some intuitives I respect who believe that to be true, or at least one. So I'm not certain that's going to happen, but I do at all. But I do see just the Congress and, again, papers flying through the air. JD Vance he just looks like a foolish country bumpkin. Like, like he doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, again, there's going to be some kind of huge shift, such that any questions we ask just kind of have to have an asterisk. Like, yeah, I think so. And I apologize, everyone. I wish I had a clear answer. But the best answer that I can get is JD Vance saying no.
Yeah, I get the same gobbledygook some days on what's going on with that as well. All right, let's see if we can switch to this question. It says, why does a person not have dreams since they were a child? Do you know anything of why somebody would have a dream and who would not? Like, some people can remember their dreams, some people cannot.
I've gone through eras of my life where I remember them. And for me, that's when I have an alarm, because the alarm will wake me in the middle of the dream. And if I wake up having had a dream, I will instantly forget it if I lie in bed for more than a minute. Right. So that's just me. I have not dreamt vividly in a while, so it's not bad. But let's just say, I'll just ask Spirit, why would an individual not have dreams that they remember? One thing that I'm seeing is like somebody going out in the universe, and it's like 2 points in the universe. It's like almost like a perspective drawing, and they're going to that point, and then they're seeing some, like, almost like the sun is hidden by the moon, and then the moon moves out of the way and it's bright. To me, this has a feeling of y'all are doing work at night. You go out and you interact with the universe, maybe help souls to go to the next level and stuff, and you're not necessarily supposed to remember it. You're just doing this work, and it's work that's somewhat separate from your daily life. I'm seeing a lot of great images of spirit, lights. Let's ask again, tell us more about why a person wouldn't remember their dreams. It's like they're on the other side. They've gone so deeply into the universe that the transition of coming back, it's almost like the world is so different that the two are not relating into daytime consciousness. I would say that it has a feeling of, if you do more spiritual work, that you would eventually remember them. Maybe it's so big that you come to the earth and it's like you can't manage that story. A little bit similar to
not translatable.
It's not translatable. Yeah.
From that to here.
Yes. Yeah. Don't hesitate to meditate, guys, because I will I get almost like a dreamlike answer sometimes when I'm doing that, and sometimes in exercise.
I agree with you. I am not one to have vivid dreams, but when I do, when every once in a while when they do get here, I remember them. I'll have I had this dream, I can't believe it. But most of the time I wake up not remembering my dreams. So I do other stuff. A lot of people have you get lots of information through their dreams, and I've really never been one of those. I get it every so often, so I pay attention when I do get one. Okay,
Definitely.
I'm gonna take a question from the chat. It says,
Okay.
"Will you announce anything to help us before 120 of 25?"
Will who?
NATO announce anything to help us?
Great question.
What does yeah?
Seeing the members of NATO. Um, Canada's part of NATO, isn't it? Pretty sure I'm seeing Justin Trudeau.
On that, but I think so. Yeah.
He must be, right? In any ways, he's a representative of NATO. There are other leaders. They're scratching their heads. They're getting together and they're talking about this. Like, what do we do? Now, you can imagine if your secrets, you tell the United States who your spies are, and a certain ex-president leaves their names lying on a bathroom floor at Mar-a-Lago. Do you really trust that guy with your secrets? So they're really concerned. I think other countries that are not part of NATO are like the Five Eyes. Australia is one of them. They're all wondering, what are we going to do? They're putting the heads together. They're thinking very seriously. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I think it's almost like, look, you guys, stop relying on others. You got to take some initiative here and you got to stand up for what's right. I think Trudeau might have a important role in this too. Okay, what are you going to do? There's 4 lines coming to a circle. Oh, NATO's going to shift. Something big is going to happen in terms of NATO because it's like these lines are coming to the circle and then everything's switching around. Like it's almost like maybe the US was the center, but the US won't be the center in the same way, or it won't be the center anymore, or they're going to start talking to each other outside of the US. I'm seeing a tank. They are sort of constructing their own army to confront Putin, I think. I'm seeing Justin Trudeau on the phone. I get the feeling that these other NATO countries are to some degree going to need to exclude the United States, that they're going to have to work around the US as if it's like sometimes in a business you have like one person that's a baby and they just throw a tantrum to get what they want the whole time. And so everybody has to work with the baby. And, that's the feeling that I have. Like, here's the reality. We have to deal with Trump in the US. So let's shift. But I also see Trudeau smiling from ear to ear. So, the results of this might actually be quite good. It just has a feeling of the United States has had all this power for all this time, and now maybe their power is going to be more significantly questioned. And that should happen. Maybe at this point, the United States isn't the global leader that it was, and a new global leader has to show up to support democracy. And that is kind of looking like Trudeau. Who else? Yeah, again, I get that kind of looking like Trudeau.
Yeah, as you were going in and doing that, I kept on getting a whole bunch of pictures of NATO having some sub or private conversations with each other. Like, what are we going? What are we
Which
going to?
which makes sense. I mean, if you were Trudeau, you'd be on the phone with Germany today and go, look, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
You know,
because they cannot count on Trump going to their rescue.
yeah, who knows what he'll do? We have
Yeah,
no idea what he'll do,
yeah,
right? No matter what he says. So yeah, they can't count on it. It's totally unstable.
yeah. And I have a friend up in Canada. Her and I, we kind of did a video. I haven't posted it yet because it was a little much. However, she was talking about just her being up in Canada and her cards that she's reading on Trump, and she's also getting that he's not going to be of long to this. So a
Right.
lot of people are getting that as well, and that would vibrate really high for us to also not get. Okay, so do you see Trump in the White House? Oh, we already talked about that. I'm trying to find another good. There's a lot of here about JD Vance. Um, okay, let's go to Elon Musk. Apparently, he's getting an office in the White House. He's not going nowhere soon. A lot of people are thinking he's going to be gone. He's this, that, and the other. But it was just announced yesterday or today that he's getting an office in the White House. So they're giving him a permanent spot, even though he's an immigrant that doesn't deserve to be in this country. But whatever. So give us a synopsis of what you see Elon Musk.
Okay, good. Well, keep in mind, we all know a permanent spot in a certain person's administration might be 10 minutes, right? So I find it hard to believe, practically speaking, that these two narcissists will be able to share the same planet. But let's see. So Elon Musk, office in the White House. What's he doing? So this is always like, whenever I see people smoking cigarettes, it always symbolizes self-destruction for me, right? And the self-destruction, I see him. It's funny too, because it's kind of a dingy office. It's not a beautiful White House office. It looks like an old movie office where like the private detective works. It's kind of
What?
not that nice, right? So he's smoking a cigarette and he's like at a typewriter. What are you at a typewriter for? Oh, there's a secretary there and she's typing. Again, it's almost like 50 years ago kind of looking place. He's smoking and he's smoking. It's a little bit like he's paying attention to the secretary and he's not paying attention to the situation. I have a feeling then that this is sort of old fashioned. There is a sort of almost, maybe he feels a role that he thinks is important, but the role is actually archaic and unimportant. And the role that he's filling is self-destructive. It is the more that he does, the more people hate him because I don't think people like him. Right? Or I don't think so at all. So something is up with this sort of self-destructive. What is he doing? He seems frustrated. There's some degree that figures that he is almost like a foil to Trump. That is, they can kind of set each other up to argue. I see him frustrated. So this might mean that he never makes it into that office, but it might also mean that he makes it into that office, but doesn't have the powers that he wants because that would make him more powerful than the president.
Steve Bannon is viscerally very audio about how much he does not like Elon Musk. I don't know if it's jealousy or what. I don't really know. But he's very like he's got to go, this, that, and the other. And of course, they double down and give him an office in the White House. We all think that Elon Musk bought a presidency, so he bought Trump, and so he has to be there to keep an eye on his investment. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Well, he's powerful.
Yeah.
He could do something with X and turn it against Trump. So that's the only reason they give him an office.
Well, here's the thing we know about Trump for sure. Okay, he takes money has been his higher power and his god for quite some time. Elon has the most money, so Trump is never going to feel worthier than Elon. He's always going to take that less than position with Elon, and it's showing all the time. I think Elon, says this, and so Trump gets out there and says what Elon says. He thinks that Elon is more powerful than him because he has more money than him. Does that make any sense?
Sure. And if you watch Trump's behavior, he's always got someone to blame. Oh, he'll say, Elon who? The minute something goes down that he can blame Elon for, he'll say, Elon who? Oh, by the way, you lied about that application, so we're going to kick you out of the country, and who's going to get hold of X? I wonder who will just get all that money, directly or indirectly. I mean, if we were to look at Trump and his past, that's what he would do. So yeah. Elon thinks he's in control, just like Fox News thought they were in control. But he doesn't have to put up with Elon for more than 10 minutes. He'll just wait for a crisis and blame him, right? That's just practically speaking.
Well, I did throw some cards as you were talking about Elon, and
right.
It is the Tower. Whatever that relationship is, and whatever that is, so we have the happy family with the towers, the happy family that they show us, but behind the scenes, it's this.
Yeah.
And it's because each one of them are fighting for the throne.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd throw a few cards on that.
That's
great. So we have also, Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, TikTok. So TikTok is supposed to be banned on the 20th. Not people who don't do TikTok, they could care less. People who are on TikTok or, that make money on they're losing their income, which I think they make more money on TikTok than they do on YouTube.
Really?
And, lots more. And so that's happening, but all of a sudden they said that Elon was going to buy it, and then they said that we're wanting this other guy to buy TikTok because he's going to preserve it, and Elon's going to destroy it, right? He will, just like he did with Twitter. So can you please, I can't think of his name, maybe somebody in the chat can think of the other guy's name who is also on the chopping block or offering to buy TikTok. Can you see if somebody's going to buy it and if it's going to go down, if it's going to be banned?
Okay, let's take a look at TikTok and see what we see. It's funny because I'm seeing a clock going tick-tock, tick-tock. All right.
Hang on a minute. His name is Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank.
Oh, right. Okay. So, Spirit, let's just look in general. What's going to happen with TikTok? Something does happen with TikTok. I see a big stop sign. Some like a new sun shows up, like a bright sun. So it could be that someone's buying it and it just has to shift. So here we have this new sun. What's going on? Yeah, it's almost like the new sun is lighting up a different angle of the earth. So one thing I'm going to say is there will be a shift in communication. How people get information and select it, it's already happened, and it's going to keep happening. Like, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have thought that these things exist or have this kind of power, right? I mean, I still don't use TikTok, but I'll never forget, like 30 years ago, I was doing a shamanic journey into the future with a group of people, and we were still not able to send an image on our phone. And all the people in the room said, this internet thing is nothing compared to the future. And it has this feeling of just a shift and change, and it will be quite shifting. What's the guy's name again?
Well, apparently he's horrible. He's from Canada. I'm watching everybody post about him.
Uh,
Canada hates him. His
uh,
name is oh gosh, where was it again? Something O'Reilly. O'Leary is as bad as Trump is what they're saying, and he's from Canada. So we don't have any good people to apparently.
no, no hero has shown up to do this. Well, except Blue Sky, I'm going to make that shift pretty soon. So, okay, here's O'Leary. Yeah, he's really smarmy looking. He's just like greasy and gross, and he's got one of those like sarcastic smiles. And he's pointing to something, but he looks disappointed. Now he looks mad. I'm not so sure he will get it, but tell me more, Spirit. He gives me the feeling of being hemmed in. It's almost like his hands are together and he can't get them apart. It might be that a more benign force shows up to buy TikTok, because I'm seeing someone a little bit better in the background, and they're maybe a lot better. They seem to be reasonable, and I don't know if they're saying no, you can't buy it, or they are buying it themselves, or something completely new comes out of this, which is entirely possible.
Somebody new is in the ranks.
Yeah, and let's see. Is there anything else about TikTok? I think it's also possible that TikTok could be divided, so that there will be like two different companies. What's that? Is that what I'm seeing? I also see the sun go down. So there may be a time of, no TikTok for a couple of weeks as these things shake out. And it's a big, a big deal, like a big social, almost reflecting all of the confusion that's going on. Somebody's drinking a beer. People are going, yeah. Why are these people drinking a beer? It feels like ultimately it's successful. The sale is successful. Watching TV at a bar. There's a sports game going on. But then they turn away from the movie. Yeah. I'm not sure. This, again, like some of the very confusing messages we get, there may be a new player. TikTok may lose some of its importance. It just feels a little bit like people are turning away. It might be that these methods of communication have reached a certain maximum,
Okay.
and people will get offline.
Well, I do see the TikTok being really worried. I get the worried, and the money in hand. Whoever has money in hand, but whoever takes it is in the moon. They're in the moon dark. They're like nefarious, and they're there to dismantle it.
Yeah,
they're literally there to dismantle it. And unfortunately, if Elon takes it, it's just going to be another Twitter disaster. Right. And he's just going to be this monopoly of social media, so everybody's not going to want to do anything on TikTok, and we won't be able to. We barely get to voice anything on there as it is. It's been a great platform for instant news. I'm pretty sure that would probably be smashed. All the people who were very, very famous for, talking about Trump or explaining what's going on, I'm pretty sure they'll probably get banned or their accounts taken down. But it's just going through. It's
frustrating. There's a lot of changes. I'm going to say that we are going to be active. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get to Facebook now, and it's just nothing but ads. There's not. I don't even see people posting pictures of their new grandchild anymore. It's just ads and harassment.
I have a Facebook for my channel that I post on every so often. It's just to keep in touch, and and then I have my own personal Facebook, which I have my family on, um, and some friends. But that's the part it is about Facebook, is it was very hard to give up, is because of all of my pictures and all of my history
Yeah,
from
yeah.
2010. I have grandchildren pictures, kids pictures, I have, places and things, and I just need to figure out how to get that all off of there and just shut it down too. I'm just over it. I'm so over it.
I'm sick of it. It's like my address book. There's people who live in foreign countries I'd have difficulty getting hold of, who, probably don't have Blue Sky yet. So I'd really like to get out of there. I'll probably just set it up as a place marker and keep posting, get off Facebook on Facebook and go someplace else, because it's like this legacy thing that we're all stuck. We've all got these pictures on. We got to keep it in that way. But certainly I'm going to minimize my use of it.
Yeah. Well, the thing, I've never understood Twitter. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that get on there and they just literally understand. I still do not understand Twitter, and I don't understand Blue Sky, although I'm on there. I can't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe somebody will sit down and explain it to me one day. However, I'm on Blue Sky, and then I'm on TikTok. TikTok has been a lot of fun, and then YouTube. But I just have a feeling that if this administration actually gets a foothold into this country, all of our social media is going to be gone, because what they don't want is for anybody to know what they're doing. Just like Kim Jong Un, he restricted everything. I don't want to be like down and dreary and like I'm just not full of joy anymore. It's just the reality of what's going on. Um,
Well, they're certainly going to try. I
yeah.
think there will be enormous pushback. And the real question of the next 4 years, if Trump takes office, is how far they will go, right? They may go only some distance and there'll be this really strong reaction. But they've gone pretty far. And even though we've had a reaction, well, we never know. I mean, maybe our reaction was strong enough to limit the damage before. So yeah, it is a dilemma we're in.
Well, what I want you to do now is kind of take, and I'm going to have you do two of them, not both of them together, because I think they are separate entities and separate feelings and separate decisions and separate votes. Okay,
Okay.
so the senators, the Republican senators, how are they really feeling about Trump and his nominees? And then
Mhm.
the question is, I really want you to tap into the House of Representatives, the Republicans there. How are they really feeling about this situation? Because at some point in time, we may have a Republican that'll show up that has a moral compass of some sort.
Occasionally, right? Yeah. So you want me to look at the Congress first?
Senate first, and then
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay, so Senate.
Senate Republicans.
I see a lot of sweating Republicans. Not a pleasant sight, but they are really freaked out. It's funny because you would think they would have taken their own power beforehand, that they would have said, all right, Trump's sinking us. But, and they didn't. But somehow now they seem to be in a stronger position to say no to him. And I think they just realize the implications and how great they are for themselves. I mean, there's no social responsibility going on. They're just looking on in horror, like, oh my God, did you really put that guy up as the attorney general who has no experience? And again, Trump is playing them. They're all going to freak out and play this game and be pushed while Trump is doing something else beyond that. So they're looking upset. Some of them are just quitting. I noticed McConnell's just leaving. I think he just announced that he would quit because he's just like, I can't take it anymore. I don't want to be part of this. They're going kind of like, oh my God. All right, let's ask her, is anybody in the Senate going to stand up and say no? Well, first of all, I see Liz Cheney. Look what happened to her. She's a governor, but Murkowski up in Alaska, she's one person that's saying no to him. And it's a political force by way of it. She seems like that independent middle person. Anyone else going to stand up? Hmm. So there's a shadow, and then somebody arrives in that place. So it might be that someone new shows up and is skeptical. They might not be very verbal about it in the beginning, but they're pretty skeptical. And it has a little bit of feeling of next generation. So this iteration of the Congress will be different than the last one, maybe. So you guys going to do anything to stop them? They're being Machiavellian about it. So behind Trump's back, they're going and getting together and saying, how can we look like we agree, but not get it through? Or just like the hearings right now. They're doing their best to stop the worst of the hearings. They're still going to they still want to install people who are money guys, big money. That's who they want there. They don't want crazy people that Trump can fire. They don't want more chaos. That's just going to make them look bad. Anything else from the Senate? Not much. They're doing what they think they're able to do and still win. No one has the courage to stop him and just impeach him, but they are trying to run. The policies are so crazy. They're trying to figure out a way to make it look like they're following their policies, but don't. Let's look at the House. The House is hopeless. It's like total, they will do what Trump says. And I see Lauren Boebert. I'm not sure she's a member of the House or Senate, but I think she's symbolic of just the total corrupt Trump acolyte.
She's the House. She's in the House.
She is in the House. Okay, so she is. Um, commanding the wind. That is with like just all the crazy stuff. She's like, oh yeah, actually somebody sent me a channeler who claimed that Californians were, creating windstorms. Somebody was creating a windstorm so that they could create these fires. And come on, let's give me a break. Wind has occurred for some time. It wasn't just invented, but there's just those kind of crazy ideas are going to come out of the House of Reps. There's no, there are some people that are stopping them, but I don't think they're Republicans. A black woman in particular, who's just being like, come on, guys, let's be real here. People have more sympathy for the black lady than for Boebert, who's making a fool out of herself. She's just like, again, commanding the wind. Anybody going to stick up for anything in the House? Any Republicans? It feels divided. It feels just like half and half. Half of the people are for America and half the people are in shadow. Mm.
Well, everybody's asking what dog. She's an Aussie Doodle. Her name is Panda. So there she is.
Right.
Every time I get on here nowadays, she has to pop her head up. I don't know what this is about anymore, but she says my panda bear. I threw one card to see how they're feeling, and this is what I got.
Which card is it?
It's not necessarily, it's like the Seven of Wands, but it's in my haunted house deck, so it gives it a different meaning. But she is literally fighting off the fire, burning. She's fighting her. She's waving at, hoping the people keep it. So they're gonna get judged pretty harshly for this.
I think so.
Well, the senators are asking Hegseth or whatever his name is, the drunken cheater. He's just like Trump, where he his baby mom, his wife was having a child while his girlfriend over here was pregnant, or this, that, or cheating. I mean, it was just absolutely craziness. I only was able to listen to a little bit of it, but
Yes.
the Democrats are asking him, like hard questions, but the Republicans are like, so what kind of gun is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just not asking him any questions whatsoever to
Uh-huh.
challenge his position, because they're leaving it all up to the Democrats, because the Republicans know, oh, the Democrats were mean to him. That's what
Right.
they're going to claim every time. They were
Right.
just horrible to. And then one of the Republicans says, he goes, how many people do you think show up here on the Senate floor to take a vote who are drunk? And we're like, oh, really? Oh, so you mean a whole bunch of people are showing up drunk on the floor? Or cheating or getting a divorce because they're cheating? And you know all of this? And you're not
Yeah.
who it is? Oh,
Mhm.
so what they're saying is we already have all of the bad people here. We might as well add to it instead of going, we should stop it. He's like,
Mhm.
we're just going to add to it because we already have them here. It was
Mhm.
unbelievable. Unfreaking believable.
This is what we're paying for. Mm.
It is absolutely craziest. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to take one final question from the chat. I posted. Oh, yep. Yeah, I don't know if he's has DUIs, but he's been accused of hitting women. He's been accused of being drunk everywhere he is. He is not qualified. The only thing he's qualified for is making Trump a dictator. That's the only thing
Yeah.
he's. He
Mhm.
definitely doesn't know much of anything else. So I'm just waiting for a question to come up, and then we'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
Because let's see. So it's like they gave up. One of the senators, the Democratic senators, it's like, oh, I see. And they kept on asking him, do you think that you would qualify if you were a drunk? And he would not answer the question, right? Like, you want us to lower our standards to put you in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was something.
It's crazy.
I don't see a question just yet. Do you have any thoughts in your head? Will
Yeah. Well,
Oh, there's one. Okay, so will any of the J6 people get pardoned? That's a good one.
all right. This is a cool image. Sometimes when you're a sports team and you win the gold cup, there's the gold cup. And it's full of beer, so sometimes they'll just drink the beer from the cup, right? Well, here's the gold cup, but somebody's holding it sideways and the beer is dripping out. It doesn't appear to be the celebration that people anticipate it to be. I see people shaking their heads no. And I get the feeling, this would be a real liability. If you release those guys and they go out and do bad stuff again, it's going to come right back to those responsible, right? So let's see. Are they going to let them? Okay, again, we're back to the cup. People will be surprised by the answer because it seems like a no. Because again, here's the sports team and the cup and the beer's drinking out, and now the team's looking at me like in shock and surprise. Yeah, JD Vance has stopped his whittling to look up. Is there anything more you can tell us about the Jan 6 people? They appear frustrated in jail. I'm going to say no. I don't think so.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to have to pick and choose the lowest of the lowest, because a lot of them, they would have to go through the courts in order to get it done. It's like it's just like some reason. Even JD Vance says we're not going to let out the violent ones. So somehow, some way, he is disagreeing with Trump on that aspect, and it kind of really made MAGA really bad. You said you're wrong, get out, and they're probably hoping. that the 3%ers and that
Mhm.
premise guy, they're hoping that they all get out, but I don't think they are.
Mhm.
I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I wanted to say also that YouTube is not updating. We actually have 1,484 people in the chat, but
Mhm.
but YouTube is only accounting for 687. So
Hmm.
there's a misstep somewhere, and it's been doing that for quite a while, especially on my channel. That it like viewers, like the views, I would get like 18 or 20,000 in my YouTube studio little show, but on YouTube itself it says it's only, like 17,000. It's not
That's
calculating correctly. So I just wanted to tell everybody that I appreciate each and every one of you. 1488 now. So there's a lot of people in here, and I really appreciate that. If you would just hit the like button. So to get this algorithm out so that people can rewatch it, especially those who had excused themselves to go watch Biden, which is perfectly fine, of course.
yes.
You can always come back and rewatch that. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you, Dave, for showing up and answering the questions. It's boggles our mind. We are absolutely just dumbfounded at this point. However,
Mhm.
uh, just like we were talking before, let's stick together. Let's get a plan going. Do not lose your mind or your soul over this. It's
Yeah.
not it.
Do what's healthy to soothe yourself.
Yeah.
I find myself sometimes praying for me now because I'm so discombobulated, and I'm like, why didn't I do that before? Don't hesitate, you guys, to take care of yourselves now. It's a difficult time. We don't know what's going to happen. So whatever that feels like, camping, being in nature, talking to your friends, call an old friend, console each other. We're all on this out together, and we're going to be okay. Ultimately, we really are. I do feel that that's true.
That is so true. And I just realized my electricity went out here a little while back, and I forgot
Oh,
my green light back on. And the
okay.
whole video without it, but there it is. There it is.
Wow.
He's like, "Where's your green light, Sheila?"
Here
But
it
yeah,
is.
you're right. So our last moments out of here, please. Can you channel a message for all of us?
Sure. And
That'd
for
be
those new to channel, this is the trance channel portion.
yeah.
Visual portion is I see an image and then we talk about it. But let's see about the trance channeling. And let's see who shows up. It's always intriguing because for me, different people show up. I should say different spirits show up. Okay. Going up some stairs. Now I see universe, sort of out in space. I see a symbol of infinity. All right, and I'm going to walk right through that symbol. All right, who would be there to help us today? Okay, a little closer. I'm seeing kind of a simply elegant woman. She actually looks like a just kind of a regular person from the 1930s. I have no idea who this person is. You show me something. I'm always asked this, and I recommend it to everyone. When you encounter an entity, ask them to show you something, and that should make you feel good, right? So, show me something. Okay, she's showing me a pocket watch, right? And it's actually the pocket watch of my great grandmother. One message I do keep getting everyone is time. Just give it a little time. Things will change very quickly, right? So I'm going to go ahead and ask her to speak through me. Oh, and I'm gonna ask her name, Chloe. She says her name is Chloe. We on the other side recognize this is a very difficult time for you. We would point out, first of all, that there are other societies who have dealt with times that are even more difficult. We don't want to downplay your suffering, but we want you to look at what people did at those times to move forward. How could they live through extremely difficult times? Community is one way that you can work through this. And we advise you now, as much community as you can muster to work together to change things. That is what's necessary. The future is brighter than you think. That is, in this moment, it feels like a crisis. It feels impossible. It feels like a dread. But there will come a point when things will make more sense. There's going to come a point when things are actually turning around and you'll realize this was all about our learning. We don't suggest to you that this is going to be easy. You will need all the support you can get. Go to those things that work for you, that calm you down. Again, we say at the end of the road, there is understanding and learning. Sometimes the only way that things can be learned is through difficulty. It's not a punishment. It is, in some sense, making things clearer by dividing them along the lines of light and shadow. That's not a bad thing. It is a way of you acknowledging the truth of the things that are happening around you. It is also a way that you will accept your own power because you've come fed up. You are sick and tired of the power being taken away from you. And because you are tired of this, you will get together and you will work towards a higher goal. You might think of it as women getting the vote. That is, they took radical action to get that vote. And once they did, their voices were finally heard. But it did not happen passively. They had to get together and chain themselves to the White House fence in order to be heard. These things will also occur for you. In some sense, the situation has become so outrageous because you just can't sit back and watch it happen anymore. Again, we encourage you to create events where you get together. So at least for a time you are consoled. And during the time you are consoled, learn from each other. Do what you call networking so that you can contact each other and act, move forward. We see many, many, many people coming together and peacefully protesting. More people, perhaps, than have ever come together before. They are sitting down in the streets. They are stopping the ice trucks from taking the people away. And the people in the ice trucks are realizing that they are loved, that so many people have come together to protect them, that they are also changing. Maybe some of those people even supported conservative ideas. But as they look on the sea of the supporters, the sea of people who refuse to let them be taken away, they are moved. They realize that there is greater power in love than in shadow. Again, we repeat this. There is greater power in love than in shadow. Don't wish to patronize you and tell you that this is going to be easy. Big changes are never easy. Big changes are always motivated by a feeling of this must change. And that is what has developed. Notice this in yourselves. You have changed. You have become stronger. You will insist on more. This is not a bad thing. We do recognize the feelings are difficult. Attend to them. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up or blame others. Look at the situation and say, how do I feel? And what can I do? How can I get more power for myself and more power for the light? However you can do this, whatever kind of work you can do on your own, however you meet others, as you perform peacefully in the street, you will become more and more powerful. The light always overcomes. It may take its time and there will be their great difficulties, but the light will always come. Lover always overcomes darkness. And with that, we end this session. We send you all our energy and love. It is there if you wish. Just reach out and accept it. Okay, there you have it.
That was a beautiful message.
Thank you. The 30s lady was really intriguing too. It was nobody famous. It's just a regular person.
Sometimes you get the great messages just from us regular folk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're all regular folk, but maybe we're not.
Yeah, that's true. All right, everyone. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I know that this is also running on Dave's channel as well. So if there's anybody on Dave's channel that hasn't subscribed to me, and vice versa, if there's anybody on my channel hasn't subscribed to David, please go do that. And remember, if you would like to have a reading of some sort, we have information on our channels to do that. So you can book with us. All right, everyone. Yeah. Any last words other than
thanks for watching. Go find love wherever you can.
Yes, that is a true statement. We're gonna need it. And there was one thing I have been doing is I'm rewatching all of my Criminal Minds, and all of my Criminal Minds videos or episodes. It talks about every single thing that we're going through. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Really?
they've been telling me for a while.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that funny how that happens?
Yeah, I know what they're talking about now. So, all right,
Perfect to see you,
everyone.
Sheila.
Yeah, good to see everybody. Thanks, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.